Hi guys, so today's video is going to be a colour along. Thing is, we haven't done any for so long. I'm trying to get a few in for you guys these next couple of weeks. So we are going to work in Johanna Basford's World of Flowers, and I'm skipping all the way to the end. We'll just do something a little bit relaxing, a little bit fun, not too taxing, bit of an easy page. And whenever I'm struggling to pick something, or I've just finished a big project or a difficult project, or I want to relax, I like to pick a floral page, something simple, something easy, something relaxing. I'm going to go with our trusty Brutfuner squares today. I've been using these a lot lately, I know. And I've gone with a green blend of 079, 116 and let me see, what's that, 115 for today. So quite yellowy green tones. As always, it doesn't matter what pencils you're using, doesn't matter what colours you're using. If you want to match closely to mine, you want a dark, medium and light in kind of a yellowy green. We're going to start with our darker colour as always, and we're just going to tone the bottom of these leaves darker. It's a small page, so we're not going to go crazy on detail. I don't tend to make Johanna Basford's kind of uber realistic. It's not the effect I'm going for. I just like to add some texture and tone so they're not flat pages, and I just like to relax and chill out with them and create something pretty. So I just put the darker colour in the base of those leaves, and then as always just fade them right out into nothing, so you're not going to have a sharp line anywhere, and your next colour will blend in effortlessly. If you do this at this stage, it just makes laying the other colours a lot easier on you, because you're not trying to work and blend out a line that's just impossible to do very much with. So we've got the darker colour in the base of those. You just rinse and repeat, do the same thing for all the leaves all the way around that match that. Dark in the base, fade it off and out into nothing. I'm going to pop a little bit of the medium in, but not very much. It's probably a little bit extra on something this small, but why not? Same again, I just release that off into nothing as it moves up the leaf. And then we're going to take that more yellow green and we're going to pop that in the end of those leaves. And you can use that to kind of blend and burnish over everything else as well. And you're just going to continue that pattern all the way around, nice and relaxing, working on all those leaves. For the vines, as always, I just put my darker green along the edge, fade it off and out into nothing, into the next colour. I do the same at both ends. And the top end as well. Fade it out. I'm going to pop a little bit into the bottom end of this and fade that out. And I'm going to add a darker edge just in the middle here and fade that out. And then we take our medium tone and we work that. Ooh, too sharp a pencil there. We work that out a little ways and then fade that into nothing as well. Work it out from every edge. If you've got a little bit of a harsh line like that, just come back in with your darker colour and fade it out. So work that colour out from each dark end and just blend it off into nothing. And then take your lightest one and just pop that in the middle of each piece. That. I'd rinse and repeat that for each part. For these slightly different leaves, I'd still follow the same pattern of putting my darker piece in the base and my medium green, fade it off and out, and then a tiny bit of the lighter green in the top. So the same thing for all of those. We've then got this little kind of grass piece here, and to be honest, I would do yet again exactly the same. My dark green in the base, fade it off and out. Bringing my darker colour a bit higher just changes the colour. And bring that middle green up almost to the edge and finish it with that pale yellow green. I'm going to build my darker colour back up again, bring it up a little bit more. That grass will look a little bit darker than the edges of the leaves then. And I would do that for each of these pieces. All these leaves the same as before. For a little bit of kind of, you know, variety for these leaves, I would probably halve these. So I'm going to put my darkness down the middle instead. And work out from the middle of the leaves instead of the bottom. Add my darker green, almost working around so you've got a little bit of circle left. And I would also put my dark green along the bottom edge of these, just a little bit. And then I'd bring in my medium green and work that a bit further up. Leaving just a couple of little patches for the bright green to go in. And then we'll go back in and just really darken up that centre and blend and fade that out. So just adding a different shape to those with the exact same technique really. I'd do exactly the same for these three here and these three here. These will all be the same, dark, medium, light. What you can do as these leaves get a little bit small is just pop the dark and medium in. You don't have to be too extra about these tiny little leaves, just pop two colours down. So the same thing but without the third palest green. Let me see now. Have I covered the greenery? I believe I have. So I'm going to finish the leaves off camera and then I will be right back. Okay, so we have all of our greenery done and we're ready to start on flowers. I've gone with pink and orange because, well, I think I always go with pink and orange, so it shouldn't be a surprise. I've got this little trio here, again in the Brutfuner square in 095, 070 and 011. So I've got a bit of a mauvey pink, a bit of a bubblegum pink and a little baby pink to go with it. And it's just a case of deciding which you want to be pink, which you want to be orange. Just going to mix them in a little bit. Probably going to make these pink down here. So my darker colour is going in the far side, almost like a shadow effect. Same thing on the other side, and then I'm just going to put the pale pink down here. I think I'll darken this side up a little bit. Just match up your even. So I like to make these a little bit even, a little bit like a mandala. And then you're just going to pick different flowers, and all I do with these little ones is, like my leaves, I start dark from the inside, I fade that off and out. I think I'm going to do away with the middle toned pink. I think they're all small enough to just use the darker and the lighter pink. So dark from the centre, fade that off into nothing. You can do this with any two-tone set that you've picked. So if it's a dark blue, just fade it out and then blend a light blue along the edges. And then we'll come in with our baby pink. Pop a little bit around the outside. And just pick a few, dot them around. Same thing everywhere. For my orange combination, I have this 005 and then this 090, so an orange and a yellow. And I would essentially do exactly the same thing. Pick a few flowers, some depth in the middle. This is a much darker colour, so I'm just going to pop that right in the middle and then fade it straight off. We're leaving the centres of the flowers for now. We'll do something fun with those later. And then add the yellow to that. I've changed sharpener on my pencils, so they're changing shape and it's leaving these really sharp edges to them, just breaking off. And again, I would just dot my orange flowers around everywhere. I think these tubular ones here are going to be orange, so again, I'm going to pop a little bit of orange in the bottom of this, and then for the base, and just fade that off into nothing. And I'm going to do the same from down here, and fade that off. And we'll add that yellow to the centre. And the top. Same on the other side. I think I want these to be orange and yellow as well, so orange in the base. Fade that off. I'm going to pop a tiny little bit in the tip of the middle of that one. And again, just add our yellow. And just say it in plain, slowly work your way through those. For this guy here, I've got a little bit of a different colour blend. So I've got this 054, so I'm adding like a bit of a deep reddish purple into my colour blend. I'm going to bring that up and fade that completely off from the base there. And I'm going to do the same from inside here, just a little bit in the bottom, fade that off. And then I'm going to take that orange, that 005, I'm going to bring that up. And again, I'm going to fade that one off. Again, we're leaving the centre for later. And I'm actually going to finish that off with the baby pink 011. And that is that. So we'll do all these flowers and then we'll be back to do our butterflies and our banner, and then we'll be able to do our background. I will be right back, guys. Okay guys, so that is everything else filled in. That leaves us with a couple of little bits and pieces to finish off. So we've got these cute little butterflies in here. I think I'm just going to take an orange and yellow. So we'll take, shall we add a bit of red? Let's do that. So with our Brutfuner squares again, we'll go 054, 005, 090. So we've got a bit of a burgundy, an orange and a yellow. Whatever you have, as always guys, doesn't matter. I'm going to put some of that dark burgundy along the inside of those. Fade that off into nothing. Hope you guys have found this page as relaxing as I have. I always come to my Johanna Basford books to just chill and relax and lay down some colour. Just going to make his body purple. Well, missed a bit. Can't even colour in the lines today. I hate that when your rubber's got colour on it and it bleeds it into your page. Just scroll that purple off by rubbing on a clean surface and then just come back in and do it again. Do I have a brush? Yes, I do. Alright, so put that back in. Just going to put that darkness along the inside, fade that off. Shall we come in a little bit? There we go. And then we'll do a layer of orange, just leave the edges. Let's see now, do I have a pencil sharpener hanging around? I have the squeakiest straws in the universe. So for my Brutfuners, as I've said, I prefer the M&R in the bigger size. When I'm sharpening by hand upstairs and trying not to make noise for filming, otherwise I have my, it's a Taihu, don't know, 6 to 12mm. It does really well. They do eat your pencils a little bit, but, well, they're Brutfuners and I have 3 spare boxes, so I think we'll be alright. Right, there's our bit of yellow. So we're down to our banner now, which I'm going to go with green for mine, I think. I don't really want it to pop, I want it to fade in. So the same 3 greens, 079, 116 and 115. I'm going to take my darker colour and I'll put that along the sides. I want my banner to look like it's curling back on itself, so a little bit dark in there. And then, as always, just release that pressure. So your next colour will blend in. We've got a little bit of shadow under here. And again, we make our banner look like it's folding back with a little bit of darker colour in the side. And this time I'm going to put my backwards crease here. So we want a little bit of darkness just along there. And then fade that out. I'm going to do the same thing both sides. So we take our next green 116 and we bring that in from the darker colour. Same thing. Might do it with you because it's going to need to meet in the middle. At this point you may need to come back in with your darker colour if you feel like the two colours aren't quite fading into each other. Just extend that fade out a little bit further. Bring it all the way down in there, no highlight for that bit, and I'm going to bring it out from this grain. Again, fade that off. Again, chucking my Brutfuners. Again, you might need to just bring in that darker colour and work in that little fade. And this side as well. And again, just blend that fade in. And now I want a really pale cream for this. I know not all of you will have these colours, guys, but I'm going to bring my Brutfuner macaron into this mix just to try them out. See if we've got the kind of colour we want. I'm going to go with this flesh colour. 1, 2, 3. If you've got any of the pastel sets, if you've watched my pastel video recently, you'll notice they're all the same, so you'll be able to find a very similar colour in any of those. And if not, I'm sure there's a cream in the Brutfuner that you can use that will be absolutely close enough. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, guys. So I'm going to bring that flesh tone in. So essentially a bit of a creamy yellow we want. I'm going to work that over the other colours so that it blends. I'm going to fade that right out. I'm going to leave a little bit of white to this, I think. I haven't used my macaron pencils an awful lot because for me my automatic go-to is my Holbein, so I'm trying to be good and broaden my repertoire. So we're going to bring that almost all the way in, just fading off into nothing, leaving a little bit of a white centre. And we're going to do the same in these patches here. And I use mine to blend the other colours in as well. Almost like you would any blender medium, just working and burnishing those colours in. And as always, bring your darker colour back in. Add a bit of depth into that edge. Don't add any harsh lines, still fade that completely out, but we're just putting that darkness back over the top. Okay, so we will do exactly the same thing the other side, and then I will be back. Okay, so that is the banner complete, and now for the fun part. We're going to do our background. So I've popped a couple of pages in behind my main one all the way around. I've got a couple of pages to put over the right hand side one. I've got a cheap kitchen board, a slightly rough textured one, but the smooth ones work really nicely. And I'm going to go with some distress inks. So before we do anything else, we're going to check and test, as I always tell you guys. So I've got some light and pale and some light and dark purples here. So we're just going to try them and see what we like. So we'll start with, I've got a bit of milled lavender. That's very pale. That's slightly disappointing. These are new inks and that's seems a bit dry, but there is some colour coming off. So we've milled lavender. Hope they're not all like that. Victorian velvet. It's got a kind of a blush pink to it. I really like that one. So we'll not bother with the milled lavender. We'll go with this Victorian velvet, more of a mauve colour. And then we've got Seedless Preserve, which I think is going to be too pink of a purple, but we'll have a look. Yeah, that's a little bit too warm for what I want. So then I've got this Dusty Concord. Now, do we need something in between those two? I like that one and I like that one, but I think we need a medium tone to pull those together. So it's whether I have something that's going to work or not. Okay, we may have to go into my trusty memento dewdrops. I've got sweet plum. Let's try this. Yes, yes, I like that. They're hard to beat, are these? I know everyone raves about the distress inks, but I do like the dewdrops, so we'll go with those. We've got a distress ink in Victorian Velvet, Dusty Concord, and a trusty dewdrop memento ink in Sweet Plum. To be honest, guys, you just want a pinky mauve colour and a medium and a darker purple in a slightly cooler tones. Whatever you want, whatever you have, it doesn't matter, guys. As always, we'll go in with our lighter colour first, so that, well, more than anything, we can make mistakes if we need to. I bet these don't last very long. I can see that being the main thing that happens with these. So I'm just tapping that off onto my board where I can pick the ink back up from, because it won't stick to the plastic. I'm going to bring my paler colour in over my picture, because it will have the least effect on my colouring. You do have to be a little bit careful not to smudge your pencil. This is where you get a little bit of, see, colouring is exercise. Who says us hobbyists don't get enough exercise? Each time I'm just tapping my brush off onto my palette so I don't get a harsh patch of colour when I first make contact. Just get a much smoother blend, and you can always pick that back up off your palette for the second go through. Okay, so I'm just going to see where we want to add a bit more. Less pressure to start with these. You can then, once your brush is almost empty, you can press down a little bit, but when you first put it to the page, tiny little bit of pressure really does help you not get a patchy application. Well, there's quite a bit of ink on your brush, it'll stick in patches and it's hard to work with. Once you've put the ink down, it's pretty much staying where it is. Let's see, so next colour for the background, we're going to go with this Memento Sweet Plum. We'll try that one, see how we feel about it. I'm going to bring this in gently. A bit more difficult to fix a mistake with ink, so slow is better. You can always add stuff on, but it's not so simple to take it away. I know most people really like ink, so I am trying to get into using them a little bit more, but I just really do find gel crayons less stressful all round. Look at those fingerprints, there's a lesson. So what I'm going to do is take my kneadable eraser, got a Lyra one, if I can get in it, that is. And we'll see if we can. I'm just gonna dab it around the rest of the page just to see if we can combat the fingerprint issue that we're having. And I can probably fix that with a bit of gel crayon after. Right, let's see if that is better or worse. What do you guys prefer? If you've got this far and you're still with me, are you a gel crayon kind of person, or do you use inks for your backgrounds? Do you even have a preference, or are you one of those dedicated pencil people that I wish I had enough time to be? They do create some beautiful pencil textures, but I just don't have, I don't get through any pages that way and I get fed up. I'm bringing that almost all the way up to the pink, but I do have a little bit of a space between my two colours. You can see the line as well, unfortunately. I need to remember to move my paper around. Until I haven't used inks in forever. Let's add another layer. Slowly start to build this up. Sorry guys, I think you're in with me for the long haul. You see, this is the reality of pages. Like, this isn't the most beautiful background you're ever going to see in your life. And, you know, throw this footage away and see it as a fail, but by the time I'm done, the picture will be alright. The background will be nice. You might not want to pick this background as the one that you actually colour along with me for, but I think it is important for you guys to see that not every page turns out perfect. Not every new medium will you be a complete superstar at straight away without a bit of practice and some little learning curves, and that it's alright. I'm putting far too much pressure. Far too much pressure for people's pages to be ridiculously perfect and neat and prim and proper, and it's not really what it's. They're not supposed to look like that. They're not supposed to be a carbon copy of everybody else's. You know, put your book somewhere and throw paint at it from a distance if you want. It's just supposed to be creative. Don't look at this and throw it in the bin. You know, because it's not this perfectly polished piece. Right, I'm going to go back to that pale colour, that Victorian velvet. Ooh, may or may not have put my thumb in that. And just going to build a little bit of that up between the two colours. Seeing as we didn't manage the smooth blend that we envisioned, I now want my inner colour to match. If all else fails, make it look like you did it on purpose. Because who can tell you didn't? No one. Yeah, I like that better with the darker. Now we've made that centre colour a bit darker. There's a lot of ASMR noise going on, unintentionally. Right, try and keep my fingers off it, and I'll just hold the centre of the page. Right, hang on, a little bit there as well. Well, at this point, for the sake of science, and just because I'm curious, I've also got this distressing dusty concord. Why not? Let's have a go. Ooh. Put that in the corners. Can't get worse, can it? This is the point where, in some ways, it's nice when your piece doesn't turn out just right, because you can be brave, you've nothing to lose. I just want to kind of pop dark corners in with this, is what we're going to do. So it's going to give my page some darker purple corners. It looks darker on camera than it does in person, I think. Just a tiny, just a bit. Okay, I think the kneadable eraser helped once you get past the first layer. It did get rid of the finger issue, so I would probably run over, you know, just dab on something to take off the fingerprints before I start. I'm pretty sure I always mean to do that and I forget every time and have this exact same conversation whenever I use inks, but there you have it. Okay, let's see, do we need a little bit more of that original pale colour? Let's have a little look. A few light layers with this, I've noticed. My blend, every time I add a little bit more of a layer, it seems to really smooth out the layers underneath it. So I do like that. Like you can see, it just starts to make that look a little bit more cohesive by then